Justice Kagan?
Mr. Clement, the government has an argument, I think it's the government, might be the respondents too, that your theory makes this with respect to motor vehicles phrase superfluous. I was just wondering what you would say about that.
I was hoping you would ask. So I think there's a big problem with that argument because I think it sort of fails to appreciate how broad the definition of transportation is. And the statutory definition of transportation that's relevant for this part of the statute is reproduced at pages 18 and 19 of the petition, if you have that. But it's incredibly broad definition, and it's 23A. And the first thing in the definition is a motor vehicle. And then it then goes on to list 10 other things: vessel, warehouse, wharf, pier, dock, yard, property, facility, instrumentality, or equipment of any kind. And then there's a B clause that goes on and talks about services related to movement, including receipt, delivery, elevation. I had to look that one up and figured out they're actually talking about grain elevators. Transfer and transit, refrigeration, icing, ventilation, storage, handling, packaging, unpackaging, and interchange of passengers. So there is an enormous amount of things that come within the broad definition of transportation that do not involve motor vehicles. So there is no superfluity problem here at all. And I would say that the breadth of that definition of transportation is maybe one more reason to think that maybe you should decide this case either just on the safety exception, or maybe you should say the preemption clause doesn't apply here at all to safety torts, a la the lower court handling of the ADA cases. Because if somebody gets injured on a wharf or a pier or a dock, there's no way that's with respect to a motor vehicle, or it could certainly not be. And it would be pretty weird if that were preempted. But of course, the old ICC had a pretty broad sense of what it got to regulate, including the routes and charges and services for like a grain elevator. So I do think there are real reasons for caution here, but I'm glad you asked the question, because I do think the more you appreciate the breadth of the statutory definition of transportation, the less persuaded you would be by that superfluity argument.
Thank you.